Hello and welcome back to the Motorsport Baithak podcast. I'm your host DD and joining me once again is my friend and your co-host Vedant. On this episode, we'll be talking about the F1 Fantasy League for the 2021 season. So let's grab some chai, take our seats, ready our opinions and dive right into the conversation. Hello Vedant, are you ready for the F1 Fantasy Showdown once again this year?
Hello Divya, I am absolutely ready for it, and I hope I can beat you this time.
Oh well, let's not start dreaming already. All right, there's a long way to for us to go this year, and especially since your favorite driver Fernando Alonso is back, I guess you'll be choosing him regardless of what strategy you need to win. So I guess it makes it easier for me to beat you at your own game.
Well, yeah, I suppose I would choose him, but that I think that depends on the budget. Like he won't be my first pick. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well, we'll see. So on this episode, what we'll do is we're gonna open up our fantasy leagues accounts and we're gonna create our own teams and we're gonna discuss the strategy, what our strategy is going into the league this year, and share that with our listeners. So are you ready for it?
I am ready. Let's do it.
So let's do it. All right. First up, let's pick a team. All right. Who would you go with this year?
Well, for me there are two options. So my basic strategy for choosing a team is choose a midfield team. So don't choose Red Bull or Mercedes because they are too expensive. Choose a McLaren or someone who is leading the midfield, so that you can get points on a cheaper rate. Like the value of your points is high, and you can use that remaining money to get better drivers from Red Bull or Mercedes.
That is interesting since like I was reading like the F1 feature that they did on the person who won like the F1 league last year, and he had Mercedes as his team in the league, and he won on the last race. Like he wasn't leading the league at any point, but on the last race he won. So really interesting strategies, and I guess for me, especially after testing this year and looking at the team lineup that we have here, I would go with Red Bull because they cost $26 million, and whereas Mercedes costs like 38, so that's like a $12 million penalty if you choose Mercedes. But Red Bull looks to be the favorites going into the season, at least for the first couple of races, especially with the stability issues that Mercedes have been having and the reliability issues. So I would not want to get negative points if Mercedes hit reliability issues once again. And I know you may say, oh, Honda didn't have a great reliability season last year, but they look pretty strong, and I'm gonna go with that. Um, Especially since I think Red Bull might be finishing first and third or first and fourth in the first couple of races. So I'm gonna pick Red Bull on that. Who are you gonna go with?
So I have two options: Red Bull and McLaren. The McLaren is 7 million cheaper than Red Bull, but I believe the McLaren can provide me more value for money throughout the season. So I'll start with McLaren first. I may change them and go to Red Bull at a later stage, but I'll stick with McLaren first.
Because I also think like as the season progresses, while McLaren won't go from being the third fastest team to the second fastest team, Red Bull's perception of being like because their value is based on last year's results, right?
Yeah.
So Red Bull finished second in the championship, and they cost less than Mercedes. But if Red Bull do really well in the first two races, the dynamic pricing might kick in, and Red Bull's price might become higher, which might let me exchange Red Bull for like a le- like a less costly team later on and invest that money into the drivers later into the season using my subs. Because one thing to remember this year, you don't have one sub every week, you have three subs. So if you have money in the bank because of dynamic pricing, you can really use that money to up the set of drivers you have. And I think Red Bull after the first couple of races might see some of that dynamic pricing kick in and a surge in their value uh, after the first couple of weekends.
That is a very interesting point. So now I am second guessing my decision.
Well, like I said, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to copy me.
Yeah. No, I'll stick with McLaren.
uh, all right. So McLaren it is. All right. Who's gonna be your first driver that you pick from this litter?
I think my first driver would be Sergio Perez, because he's in a Red Bull now. The Red Bull is absolutely the most dominant car after testing, and in a Red Bull he can frequent the podium.
I think it also gives you an advantage of like a turbo driver.
Yeah, exactly. He can be chosen as a turbo driver. So if you have Perez as a turbo driver, that's a huge advantage.
Yeah, especially since I feel like if things pan out like last year, Perez would be in that weird region where he's like having a lonely race in fourth. So I think not only will he bring in points for the fourth place, but he might also be in a better place to score the fastest lap each race. And
Yeah.
that will multiply with him being like a turbo driver. And so that seems like a really good decision um, from your perspective. Well, I'm not going to go with Sergio. I'm going to go with Max because I think, again, dynamic pricing will kick in. And I think even though I won't have him as a turbo driver in my first couple of races, I think he'll bring in more points overall, regardless, finishing second or even first in the first couple of races. So I'm not really going for the fastest lap points, but if all goes well, then he should be qualifying on pole position and finishing the race in P1 for the first couple of races. So he should bag 35 points at least.
So did you just spend half your budget on a team and a driver?
Yeah, but don't worry about it. There's a master plan here, Vedant.
All right.
Don't get worried about it.
So
Yeah, I have 49.3 million in my pocket still. I'm guessing you have close to 70.
I have 62.7.
All right.
So it's, yeah, I think you can go ahead with your second driver.
All right. With the second driver, see, this is where it gets tricky because I still got to figure out my other picks down the order, right? But I think for my second driver, I'm gonna choose Lando Norris. I think out of the box, he's gonna be beating his teammate. He's gonna be in a McLaren, so I know he's gonna be finishing hopefully in the top six, with maybe a surprise podium or two, and I think he's gonna be quicker than Daniel Ricciardo out of the box. So he'll be getting more qualifying points. He'll be getting points for beating his teammate in qualifying, and hopefully he'll also get more points in the race. And we all remember what a blistering start to the season Lando had last year, and I can just hope for the same.
Yeah, and he's a bargain too at 13.1. In a McLaren, he's
Absolutely.
an absolute bargain.
Yeah, and I think again he's also in a good position to put in that fastest lap. Hopefully at the start of the season,
Yeah,
him and Daniel.
definitely. So I think I'll have to match you there, and not risk having you take away this driver. So I'll take Daniel Ricciardo. I mean,
Okay.
all the yeah, being a McLaren driver,
I mean, yeah, it's a close one. Yeah.
he's the one of the best drivers on the grid, and I mean, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't choose him.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a great pick. He's consistent, and he might propel himself forward over the course of the season. And dynamic pricing might change things there too. And it's really interesting because having three subs this season will also allow you to like change out drivers within your budget for like track specific.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, when you have track specific concerns, like I think it'll be really helpful, like tracks at like Monaco and stuff, where you have because there won't be much overtaking, so you'll try to pick drivers who are further up the grid naturally. All right, so I'll let you pick the third driver first since we're alternating.
All right. So, well, I think I'll just take away Pierre Gasly from you.
And that kind of hurt me in the wrong place. Pierre was definitely a part of my master plan.
I know, I know. Pierre Gasly
Per
is
se.
part of everybody's fantasy master plan.
Yeah. Do you want to explain why you chose Pierre Gasly?
I mean, see, it's a no-brainer really, because AlphaTauri are on a roll right now. They are arguably the fourth fastest team, as such. After testing, the fourth most prepared team, best, whatever you want to call it. And Pierre Gasly is, of course, their star driver. He has now, after 3 seasons in Formula One, he has experience, and he won Monza last year, and I think he's in the form of his life. He was the best. He was one of the best drivers last year.
Yeah, definitely, and he shows more promise to finish in Q3 and like qualify ahead of his teammate. At least at the start of the season, looking at how things have been after testing, so he'll probably grab a few points there.
Exactly, and he
comparatively,
and at just 11.7, he's an absolute bargain.
Absolutely, that is definitely agree, and I think he is more well suited for because like if you think about it, you have Red Bull, Mercedes, and McLaren top three. So if all things go well, that will be your top six at least, or that's like 6 point finishing places out of the 10, right?
Yeah,
Every weekend, and then you have Ferrari, AlphaTauri, Renault, Alpine, I mean, and Aston Martin, right? So then it's 8 drivers competing for 4 points finishing places, and I think Pierre Gasly is someone who has the capability to finish in the points consecutively. Looking at the performance from testing and how he has done in AlphaTauri last year, so that should definitely help you get the weird streak, the points you get for streaks for qualifying and finishing races in the points in the fantasy league. Definitely a great pick. This makes it really hard for me to pick a third drive. I feel I'm gonna run out of budget now because Pierre Gasly was at the heart of that team that I was trying to build. But yeah, I'll need a minute here. Let's see. There's Charles Leclerc who's available for 16.8, but if I add him to my team, I'm only left with $20 million, and I don't know who I would pick for that. So I'm gonna lay off Charles, I think. Oh man, this is so difficult.
I mean, I can trade you Pierre if you want. I want Lando.
No.
I want Lando.
No, I think I'll keep Lando, mate. I'll keep Lando. That's a good move, though. That's a good move. Well, yeah, that's another aspect I didn't think about. Wow. The businessman Vedant. I want to just take away Fernando Alonso so I can just take it to you a little bit.
Okay then.
But yeah.
I mean, is it Fernando too expensive for you? For your budget?
I just don't want. I see. Like I said, I don't feel Fernando is gonna have a. I think Ferrari drivers are gonna have a better chance of finishing in the points than Alpine drivers.
All right, yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Although there is no evidence that suggests that, but it's just like my gut feel, and I feel like Charles has, like, Fernando Alonso is like a 2-time world champion. I know he's hit the ground running and he's doing great in that Alpine car, but we've seen what Charles can do on that Ferrari, even with like a draggy, bad Ferrari last year. He put that high up the grid during qualifying, and I think that will be important again this season to get some points in the fantasy league, especially since we decided not to pick teams with the same people and like the same drivers and teams in them. So you know what? Yep, I'm gonna go with Charles Leclerc. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think I'll play that gamble.
Great pick, and if Ferrari if Ferrari have made that step that they are that everyone is saying that they have, and they have that upgraded power unit covered and that draggy section of the car covered, and they have made those improvements, Charles Leclerc would be a regular in the points. So yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, hopefully, and I think I'm a little biased towards Ferrari too, because I'm a Ferrari fan and I want them to do well. So I think that bias is coming from there, because we know Aston Martin has had problems with their car in pre-season testing, and Seb didn't do well, and Seb didn't feel comfortable at all, and Lance didn't have the best time either. So we know they're gonna take time to come to like the to the front of the midfield.
Yeah, they're playing catch up, definitely.
Yeah, they're playing catch up after testing, so I don't think it'll be wise to spend any money on Seb or Lance either. And like I said, there's only 4 places really that 8 drivers are fighting for from the 4 midfield teams that are left.
Yeah, it's your chance to pick the fourth
Oh,
driver.
again, yeah, that's right. I forgot about it. Well, I'm gonna go with Esteban Ocon. That's who I'm gonna go with.
Nice.
I think out of the blocks, he's gonna be faster than Fernando for the first couple races.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet on him like long term. I think I'll want to swap him out as soon as you let go of Pierre. Hopefully Pierre has a bad couple of first races, so you have to swap him out or whatever, and then I'll pick up Pierre.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be close between Fernando and Esteban, and I hope head to head Esteban does well in qualifying, but it's definitely a gamble. There's no definite logic behind it, so it's just me hoping for the best.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, he's a great bargain also at 10 million. And
Yeah, exactly.
And-
And Fernando costs like 15 and a half.
yeah, and I mean Alpine are showing promise, so he might frequent the points position.
I'm not hoping for a lot of points from Esteban. I'm just hoping he'll hold the ship steady and give 5-6 points every race. Out qualifying Fernando, so stuff like that, and then points for getting into Q2 or hopefully Q3.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
things
I mean-
that. And another reason I wanted to pick an Alpine driver was because Alpine haven't had reliability issues like a lot of other teams, especially like those with the Mercedes engine in them. So that is a little reassuring that there's a higher chance that if things go wrong that the Alpine cars will finish the race.
Yeah. So okay, now it's my turn to choose the fourth driver. But my question to you is, what is your remaining budget right now?
You don't have to worry about that.
No. I'm just trying to figure it out.
There is no reason for you to figure it out. Why do you want to know?
Okay, so what I'm trying to play here, listen to me, hear me out. What I'm trying to play here is I choose my fourth driver as such that our remaining budgets become equal, right? And then we have
Okay.
a equal playing field.
Well,
for
then
the
you just
fifth
have to go with Lewis Hamilton. Just pick up Lewis Hamilton. That's pretty easy, right?
So-
you have you can pick Lewis Hamilton. You can pick Valtteri Bottas. You can pick Charles. Oh, no, I picked Charles Leclerc. So you can pick Fernando. He's your favorite driver. Go pick him.
I mean, see, if I pick Lewis, I'll be left with what 0.2 million. So that makes no sense.
All right, I have enough for a I'm not trying to give you the edge, but I have enough for a lower midfield driver, so it's gonna be no points for me. But I'm hoping because like I said, you took Pierre Gasly away, so I had to think on my feet now. So I'll just be happy if I get a George Russell or a Giovinazzi and get a couple points in the first couple of races, and with dynamic pricing, hopefully swap them out for a better driver later on in the season.
Okay, so I have I have two alternatives with me. Pick two drivers worth about 15 million each, or get one from the lower midfield and get a Valtteri Bottas. So
I guess for one race, I don't think the Mercedes is ready for racing
Yeah.
yet. If it was, I would definitely bet on Valtteri Bottas to get the first race win of the season and then swap him out. But I don't know. You can choose from.
okay, yeah.
I guess you could.
I've made my decision.
Okay.
I'll take Carlos Sainz. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. You
For-
can take Sainz and Alonso.
yeah, I am taking Sainz and Alonso.
Yeah, exactly. I knew where your head was. I exactly knew where your head was.
Yeah.
But that definitely makes sense. Like I said, I think Ferrari is most likely to finish in the points after the top 3 teams, and besides AlphaTauri.
Yeah, and
So I think
so as I mentioned in our testing reaction podcast, the last time Ferrari had a Spanish driver, debuting for them.
Oh my god. Here we go again.
So the season opener was at Bahrain, and that guy won it.
Yeah, and it was 2012, and this is 2021.
2010,
and
man.
That guy won the season or whatever.
It was 2010, and I mean, these are all weird things.
The universe is conspiring to have Sainz on the top of the field.
But no. I'm not betting on Sainz winning the race, of course, but I'm betting on Sainz performing consistently, and I feel he's a great driver. That's why Ferrari chose him, and yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And I guess I just feel like Charles Leclerc is like a better qualifier, so hopefully he won't be giving away points to Carlos.
Hopefully, yeah, for you.
He won't get beaten by Carlos as often. Well, and your fifth driver is Fernando Alonso. You've picked him, right?
Yeah, Alonso.
Again, a great bet. I think it's going to be close between Ocon and Alonso, and I think I just feel like Alonso's pricing is like he's overpriced, especially like coming back 2 years later in a somewhat lower midfield team.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think he's really worth that much points.
I mean,
that much money.
you are right, but I'm still left with 3.7 million, so I can
What are you going
use
to do with that?
I can use that along with dynamic pricing along the season.
I guess. All right. So last pick of the day. I'm gonna go for Yuki Sonoda.
Oh right, okay,
Uh,
nice pick. I must say that.
I think he's gonna be the rookie of the year, and I think he might just surprise us at the first race. And I can't wait to see what he's got to offer. And like I said, AlphaTauri is in a great place to score some points from what it looks like after preseason testing. So I think he's a safe bet for to pick up those last couple of points, get into Q3, and keep that streak going alongside Pierre Gasly. And especially if they work like a team, like Lando and Carlos did last year, I think AlphaTauri can really be up there amongst the top midfield teams.
Yeah, definitely. Yuki Sonoda is a great talent, and everyone expects great things from him this season. And as you said, he might surprise us very well.
Absolutely. And I have avoided picking up a Mercedes team or a driver just because of the reliability issues with the gearbox and things that they've been having. And remembering from last season, they had a lot of issues with vibrations and whatnot in Austria.
Yeah,
so they had
and
to, slow down.
overheating
Overheating. So I don't know where they are technically. So I'm not gonna bet on them just yet. I'm gonna wait until Lewis Hamilton goes and takes pole and wins the race by an hour, and then I'm gonna pick them.
Yeah,
that's
that's conclusive evidence.
Yes, that is conclusive evidence that Mercedes is back on top. But yeah, still kind of hurts that Pierre Gasly is not there with me, and that I had to pick Esteban.
Well, Battle of the Frenchmen.
Battle of the Frenchmen. But yeah, how do you feel about your team?
I think I'm pretty confident with this team. It's a well-rounded team. I mean, McLaren obviously is a midfield team bridging the gap, but they are still a leader of the midfield. So, as I said earlier, my strategy was to get a midfield team and get better drivers, and that's what I've done.
See, I don't really agree. You got better drivers than me though. I got Max Verstappen. I got Lando Norris. And I got Charles Leclerc, and I think the only better driver you have than my lineup is Pierre Gasly. Pierre Gasly versus Yuki Sonoda. That's the only matchup that I'm really worried about.
Yeah, well, it's opinions,
Wow, that was the worst comeback ever. But all right, let's.
Oh wait,
let's
I just noticed that we have split five teams into two. Yeah,
absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we've done.
Yeah.
None of us picked any Merc team. None of us picked Alfa Romeo. But again, doesn't. I don't think a lot of people will be picking them. I think it'll be between the top 7 teams. So it'll be Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren.
I mean, but our viewers and anybody else, if they are looking for tips, and I'm no expert, but I'm just saying,
Yeah.
they can choose a low midfield driver like Giovinazzi or Russell, who will beat their teammates and who will,
Exactly.
outperform their teammates and maintain that streak to get small
Yeah, I think
points and save that money for a better driver.
that's definitely a good point, because I think George Russell is a good bet in that way because we know he's going to out-qualify Nicholas Latifi every race. So that's like 2 points in the bag straight away every race.
Exactly.
He's going to finish ahead of the teammate every race. And he is most likely to, make up places on the grid when there's DNFs, when there's, crashes or whatever, and when Alfa Romeo and Haas don't do well.
Yeah, and he's most likely to get to Q2, in fact.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that was a great strategy that maybe we missed out on. But I think that's only because neither of us chose Mercedes, and I think if we had chosen Mercedes, one of us would have had to choose George Russell or
exactly
Antonio Giovinazzi, and I think that's where it didn't pay off. But yeah, you bring up a good point there.
All right. So who is going to be your turbo driver? Who will score two
that's
times
what
the
I was
points?
coming to. I think that's an easy one, all the way for my Lando content. Lando all the way, Lando Norris will be my turbo driver.
Yeah, that's a safe bet in the McLaren.
I can't choose Max Verstappen because he's over $20 million. So I have to go with Lando or Leclerc. So Lando is the choice because I think he knows the team better and he'll be faster right out. He's more likely to score more points and he beat his teammate.
Yeah, of course. I'll go with Sergio Perez as we said earlier because he's most likely to score most points among all my drivers. So yeah, simple as that.
Yeah. I think so. Since we have chosen our teams, let's just spend a couple minutes and talk about what would be like an ideal team. In our opinion, because you chose a different team, I chose a different team, and we split the drivers. So if we could, rebudget, what would be an ideal team? I think I would swap out Sonoda for Gasly, and I would give up Ocon for. I would swap out Ocon and Verstappen for I don't know, or maybe it's just I want to have Daniel Ricciardo on my team too.
Yeah, but if you have Daniel Ricciardo, you might want to swap out Lando Norris because the beating your teammate portion.
Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't pick two people from the same team.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think Pierre Gasly. But again, if with my current team, if I chose Pierre Gasly, I would be out of budget. I would not be able to pick him. So I would have to pick a George Russell instead of an Esteban Ocon or something like that.
Which is good enough, which is good enough.
Or choose McLaren instead of Red Bull.
Yeah.
So I think the combination is good somewhere right there.
I think you choosing Verstappen and staying with him even in these different variations is a good decision because Verstappen is most likely to win in the start of the season. And he'll absolutely dominate it.
Absolutely. Well, that's my team and that's yours. So I'll see you at the end of the first week when I'm leading the championship and you're not, Vedant.
All right, we'll see about that. But to our listeners, please join our league. And if you win the fantasy league at the end of the year, you have a chance to feature on our podcast and reveal to our listeners how you did that, because winning a fantasy league is not all luck, and
it's time to unleash our inner team principles.
Exactly, it involves strategy and it involves thinking, and so please join a league and win a chance to feature on a podcast.
Absolutely. To join our leagues, go to our socials on Instagram and on Twitter, and you will find the league codes on our bios. So,
and it'll also be in the description below.
Exactly, that's right. Forgot about that. But yeah, that's a wrap for this podcast, and I look forward to seeing Vedant and all our listeners in the fantasy league battling it out over the next year. It's going to be exciting. Thank you, Vedant. Thank you for joining us, and Not so thank you for picking up Pierre Gasly. I'll see you later.
All right.